Hi, my name is Chris Croft from the University of Southern Mississippi and presenting today with Tim Wilson from Tusculum University and Ed Loeb with Southwestern College. Today's presentation is NAIA Sports Security, what keeps athletic directors up at night worrying about the next game. There's a lot of research on the professional sports security level as well as NCAA Division I, but not as much on other levels. So the purpose of this study was to look at the perceived level of crisis competencies of National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, NAIA athletic directors. As a former college basketball coach on that level, Tim has been on the NAIA level as a faculty athletic representative, as well as Ed also. So we have some past knowledge of NAIA experience in intercollegiate athletics. So the primary focus of this was NAIA athletics. There's over 77,000 student athletes, over 250 plus schools, 21 regional conferences, and 27 championships on the NAIA level. As we know, unfortunately, doesn't get as much publicity as the NCAA division levels. NAIA student athlete participation has increased an average of 40% in the last 5 years on the NAIA level, and annual budgets for the NAIA athletic departments are $3.3 million annually, while they're spending 40% less than the NAIA counterparts on their athletic programs. This targeted population of this study was NAIA athletic directors. We looked at demographics, education level, the years of their experience in training, level of perceived competencies in sport, and what they're basically doing at their member institutions' locales. Obviously, massive changes in sports security and sports since 9/11. This has focused all parties to gauge on what's being done, but what also can be done better. There's been a concentrated effort by athletic directors, facility and event management personnel on trying to keep sport venues safe for the participants as well as the spectators. AD's top priority is safe places for all the parties to participate, coaches coach, players play, and fans to root on their team. So they have to be ready for a lot of challenges. This ranges from terrorism, both international as well as domestic, spectator violence with competitive fans going after each other, as well as officials, as well as alcohol-related issues that we've seen. Also includes natural disasters, predominantly tornadoes, as well as lightning, and some other various situations depending on their specific locale. There's been extensive academic research with the National Center of Spectator Safety and Security, NCS4. This actually located on our campus at the University of Southern Mississippi. This has been led by Dr. Stacy Hall and others. This was funded shortly after 9/11 with government grants from the Department of Homeland Security, as well as other organizations. NCS4 looks to dive into the best security practices in the real world that can be transferred to the sports environment on the international, the national, regional, state, and local levels. Also, Cunningham has dived into college athletics, crisis management abilities on the NCAA Division I level. Athletic directors' awareness and concerns are important as they gauge what their perceptions are, what's currently been doing with training, as this trickles down to staff and other departmental concerns on their locale. A couple other points on sports security background. Obviously, Gordon noted the importance of providing a safe but enjoyable experience for fans. Sports security has been added, obviously, as we said, after 9/11. And this has been combined with some sport marketing concepts as well to make sure that fans are greeted upon ingress to the facility, but also making sure things are set for the fans' safety. There is a need to train staff and properly and correct procedures on handling various situations. The number one priority for athletic directors or any facility and event personnel is to make sure the fans are getting to the venue or event safely, being safe during the event, and also leaving that game safe as well. So that's the top priority. Miller also most recently noted the latest professional sports data and concepts of what's being done. Obviously, the professional ranks have more resources and manpower than intercollegiate athletics, especially the smaller levels like the NAIA. But regardless, it's important for intercollegiate athletics at all levels to make sure they're ensuring safety for all their constituents. Global events like the Olympics and World Cup and mega events like the Super Bowl received great focus in sports security and media publicity after 9/11. Piccarello noted these events, including minor sports and also non-revenue sports, are considered, quote, soft targets, unquote. Soft targets is defined as smaller areas with less restrictions in place. Normally, these are smaller crowds, but also could be prone to dangerous situations because of more lax procedures that are being put in place at these venues. In this study, the researchers, we looked at descriptive statistics, demographics, competency means, standard deviations to analyze our research questions. Again, we targeted the current NAIA athletic directors with help from the NAIA office in Kansas City. We were able to obtain a database of all current athletic directors and their email addresses. We administered the survey to 257 current ADs. We had a 65 respondents for 25% response rate nationally across all 4 time zones. One notation, there was some delays in obtaining some of this information because of pandemic effects with athletic directors last summer and fall, as they were facing the craziness of fall schedules being postponed and things being postponed to the spring, trying to reschedule events, while they also were involved in what their university or college was doing as far as coming back to school in normal capacity, or doing strictly online, or in some cases, hybrid situations. Diving some of the demographic results, again, there were 65 total respondents regarding gender, 54 total, or 83% were male. Regarding ethnicity, 53 are also 82% were Caucasian. You can see the additional breakdown of different categories there and review as well. As far as educational background, we wanted to see what type of academic training that these athletic directors currently had. Obviously very much less than expected. 65 total ADs, or 80% of them had master's degrees. Was their highest degree. You can see the split pretty even between bachelor's at 6 and a doctoral degree at 7 on the other degrees. 50 of the 65 participants, or 77%, had degrees in physical education, educational administration, sport management, or other education/sports related fields. So one thing to note. Some other side notes there, to name a few of some other degrees, included operations research, home economics, space operations, and also political science. As far as their athletic careers background, we asked a series of questions trying to gauge how long they had been total years in athletic administration, as well as being an athletic director position, as well as being an athletic director at their current institution. Obviously, in the first part, the range started from, quote, started last week, unquote, in one situation to 36 years. Median were 14 years, standard deviation was 8.5. Ranges for the next question were similar, from 0 years to maximum 28 years. Median were 7.4 years and 5 years respectively, with a standard deviation of 6.6 years as being the chief or primary athletic director. Regarding the third question, we looked at how long they'd been at their current institution. These were similar. Obviously, 6.3 was the average there total. So just trying to get a background of their demographics of how long they had been in intercollegiate athletics overall, as well as an athletic director, as well as at their current institution. Some overall results. Obviously, as we dive into some things, 90% acknowledged the importance of having sports security training and how that was important. The 2 areas that were most noted was crisis and security management, as well as leadership training. Obviously, NAIA has much smaller staffs than their Division I counterparts. It often includes part-time staff, volunteers, as well as student workers. But again, 90% indicated the importance, perceived importance on their personal level. As far as security training, remember 90% on the previous slide, but this was far less than who's actually doing training, was less than 50%. Obviously, they have lots of components and various people coming and going between part-time staff, volunteers, and student workers. Various reasons for the lax in doing training. This ranged from time to funding, lack of resources, administrative support, to a couple other isolated situations. As far as volunteers, we noted how much volunteers are being used. Again, similar to the previous 2 slides, high levels of importance and percentages, but low levels of actual training being done. 77% of current ADs that responded use volunteers, but again, only 37% or less than half actually provide sports security training to these volunteers. This is a great and obvious concern. Athletic directors are putting people in positions without training. Obviously, the safety of the players, the coaches, the staff, the fans at events. If a situation does evolve, these workers or staff, including volunteers, are going to have to help get them to safe situations very quickly. This certainly also opens up a potential situation of lawsuits if an unfortunate situation does occur. As far as financial implication results, we try to gauge whether the current athletics directors use institutional security. So this would be an example, university police. If financial expenses to their athletic department directly their budget would not be impacted. This was only 63% said they would. 34% would use at some events. Obviously, the bigger events were noted were men's and women's basketball. Almost all of these schools have these sports, where not all of them have football, which is obviously three of the probably larger fan capacity sports on these institutional campuses. Also, regarding private security, we know this is used more on the NCAA Division I level than smaller schools. Almost half, or 48%, said they would not. They would not use private security or third parties if they had a chance, regardless if finances were in play. This was interesting numbers that they would not want to use or have involved to assist in providing a safe environment. 14% did support using at all events, while 38%, or 1 out of 3, approximately, supported using some events. Again, references here were made to football, men's and women's basketball, some of the larger fan events that are on current campuses. Also, we try to dive into desired training results that are needed by current athletic directors. Again, back to the previous slide, 90% thought it was important, but only half of those were doing training. We asked ADs what training they desired or needed. The top two at 57%, was crowd management and also emergency crisis management. Awareness of crowd situations, possibly before or after a big game with rival schools. Note, a little bit different on any NCAA Division I level. A lot of conference championships are held at member institutions. So you bring a lot of fans from different environments, sometimes multiple schools, in a very competitive championship formats where you survive and advance when the season is over. So some situations brewing there. Obviously, crisis. Also, the other part of that is crisis management, how to handle things. Noteworthy that athletic directors won't seek help, and how to handle some situations and make them applicable to their member institution, and also their smaller staff and resources that they have. The third area for training that was most sought desired was crisis leadership at 43%. Very evident there is a desire and need for training to help athletic directors. They need this and seek this. As far as the discussion, a couple other points there. We did try to look at the significance on the years of experience or age, obviously going back to the demographics. There was nothing significant here. We did do a breakdown from 0 to 14 years as an athletic administrator versus 15 plus. And as far as age, we did 45 and under versus 46 years old and above. So there was no significant issues there. That was somewhat surprising to the researchers in some ways. The second part there, obviously, it's obvious overall results. There needs to be more training to NAIA member schools and athletic directors and all the people that are working to help keep the safety of coaches, staff, players, and fans. This has obviously been supported by the previous slides and the types of training that athletic directors do seek at this time to help them. Couple more points, obviously more emphasis on the pros and major college down to smaller levels as far as sports security. Game day assessments that are being used include screening, handheld scanners, controlled parking areas, blocking access to coaches and players. Obviously technologies from the real world access, closed circuit television, CCTV. Other things that are being used, it's going to be as minor as use of cell phones to take pictures, are using video of potential situations. Second point there, important to note that sports security affects all parties at games. Unfortunately, there's lots of avenues to cover, including ingress and egress points and the constant monitoring of fans during the actual event. Again, a lot of times these athletic directors have very, very small staffs, if any, as well as using a lot of part-time or volunteers to assist them. One quick or bad situation could create a major challenge for that member university, college, and all the people at that event. Couple more points. Obviously, concerns over athletic directors keeps them up at night. Obviously, safety of the coaches, players, and fans. They don't want any situations, obviously, at their personal situation. Obviously, some lingering effects would be bad press, lawsuits, and the issues affecting recruiting down the road. So they're obviously very concerned. Obviously, limited amount of financial resources and manpower as compared to professional or NCAA Division I. Second point there, obviously it falls on the athletic director's responsibilities. This is a huge task and job for them, obviously with the myriad of other things that they do as far as managing the coaches, student athlete programs, as well as things that they do, but huge task in making sure that all these sport facility and venues on their college campus are safe. They need assistance in training. Need to have a plan in place for their specific school and sport facilities of how they would handle some of the most pressing issues that could come into play at their university or college. Majority of research, again, it's been on the professional levels. Obviously, no surprise there because of the large crowds and large amount of resources and money, people at those events. There has been limited research on NCAA Division I athletic directors. Again, we noted Cunningham's previous research. There is a need to be more on smaller levels, specifically the NAIA level. Obviously, they're not under the NCAA umbrella, but obviously a lot of student athletes. We said over 70,000 student athletes, 27 annual championships. And so there is a need to place greater emphasis on this. Obviously, great resources, the National Center for Spectator Sports Safety and Security, NCS4. They can help all these organizations from professional to Division I, Division II, III, NAIA, and junior college and high school. They do a lot of training sessions and best practices and things that people can apply to their situation to try to promote safety to their constituents. Just in conclusion, NAIA, like other colleges, face some similar things as others. They need the training. It was acknowledged in large numbers before, but only half of them are doing that. Needs to be improved areas on their campus for this training. Also communication during games and situations. Resources, what does University College have as far as university, police department, other areas that can be used as well as local areas. Training the staff annually, show them how to handle some situations that may come up. Most member institutions and athletic directors have some issues that they have seen in the past, so they could go back and review those exercises and make sure this is how would be the best way that we want to handle these situations. And also a call to the NAIA office, important for them to mandate and assist in doing things to help these member institutions, again, over 257 schools, some others that are currently reclassifying, but help make sure these athletic directors and their staff are getting the proper training that they need so they can protect their coaches, staff, players, and fans going forward. Just a quick notation of the references that were used on this. Again, a lot of research through Hall and others with NCS4, and certainly a growing area in the academia field. There's our contact information. Again, I'm Chris Croft from the University of Southern Mississippi. My colleagues Tim Wilson and Ed Loeb were very beneficial on this study. There is our contact information, emails and Twitter contacts if you want to reach out to us. Be glad to share some more information with you in detail. Also, last but not least, special thanks to College Sport Research Institute for the opportunity to present at this conference virtually. I had the good fortune to attend the CSR conference 2 years ago in 2019 for the first time. top-notch conference, first-class people, and learned a lot. Obviously, it's the premier intercollegiate athletic conference nationally each year, annually in the spring in Columbia, South Carolina. Was scheduled to attend last year before obviously the national lockdown and presented virtually. So special thanks from Tim and Ed and myself to all of you for the opportunity to present here, and look forward to hopefully maybe being able to get out there physically in 2022 to hear the presentations and possibly present as well. Thank you.